Before we get started in this video, I just want to thank these people on the screen for supporting our show. If you want to support us and help bring more free educational videos like this, the link is in the description. Happy Saturday, everybody. I just threw this video up real quick. It's not going to be a long video. It's just going to be talking about cause and effect based on setup and how Tiger was able to utilize a different setup back then than he is lately. And I know this isn't a up-to-date video when he's in red, but you know, it's definitely a lot older than the younger Tiger on the right side. And I will be having our Red Light Live show tomorrow. We got about 25 to 30 people that were waiting for analysis, so I appreciate your patience. I was out last week. I'm going to be out again next weekend and potentially in 3 weeks time as well, so I might have to pick another time during the weeks to try and catch up so we can get you all that you submitted to me. So keep sending me those videos. I appreciate it. But let's just talk about what we see here. We see a younger Tiger on the right side and older Tiger on the left side. Obviously the one on the left side has been hitting the weights a little bit more. You can see he's a little bit more bulkier and bigger shoulders, bigger muscles to use. And one of the reasons we have this is he's just developed as a person. Now, obviously, we're not as young and limber as we used to be. So this is a good thing for you to watch. So you don't want to keep keeping yourself how you were swinging 20, 30 years ago for some of you out there. Myself included. I look at videos of me 20, 30 years ago. I'm like, man, if I could only swing like that, but it's just not physically possible anymore. So let's start from right at the beginning and let's take a look at our setups. Now you'll notice that the Barney purple line is basically from the arches of the heels up, and you'll see a big difference already. We can see Tiger on the left side is a little bit more centered in terms of keeping that weighting over his center of his hip joints, and we see that circle resembles that. Now we see the younger version Tiger on the right side where we take the arches of the heels straight up to the sky. They intercept right at the higher points. So you can see the center of balance for each Tiger is a little different. So this is important for the younger Tiger because now he has to keep more of the lower body on the left side of that center line versus the older Tiger. So in other words, anything from Barney purple left is what we're looking at, how it sequences through, specifically in the downswing. Because his center point is more towards his chest, for him, behind that Barney purple line has to keep moving that way to keep that balance point centered. Where the newer Tiger is actually more of the weighting is on the right side of the Barney purple line, and this will allow the upper body to be a little bit more dominating because he is much stronger. So we're using a little different forces at play here. But just take a look at the top of the swing. We can already see some differences as we get to the top. Right here, we can see one Tiger, the younger Tiger, his hands are much higher than the secondary plane line. The newer Tiger, they're much lower than the secondary plane line. But they both fall slightly behind the center point. So this is the very key point I want you to look at, is where that butt of the club falls behind that center point. They're falling about the same distance, but they are behind the center point at the start of your swing. So this is why it's important to make sure you recognize where your center point is to utilize it correctly. Now we know that the balance points are a little different because of the amount of body that's behind Barney purple. So take a look at the first move down. They both get their arms to move down straight away, which is good. But you'll notice the Tiger on the left side, his arms are much closer to his body due to the setup. Now this is important because he can't rotate as much as he used to, and the older one had to rotate to keep that balance point the same. So as we get down into impact, look at the difference here. We see much more clearance on the right side because the lower body is pushed out and away. So if we draw some lines here, you'll see the lower body is still favoring left of the Barney purple line because of his center point, where the newer Tiger, less of that lower body is favoring it because of that center point where he's set up. And why is this important? Because Tiger cannot get into those positions he used to because of his setup. Look at the amount of hip rotation on new Tiger versus old Tiger. We still have the amount of spacing between our forearms and the body, but if you take a look at the Tiger on the left side, he has lost some spine angle. So we're going to take a look at the new spine angle versus the old spine angle of Tiger. He's still relatively close to that initial spine angle. As we keep going past impact, look at this position here. Look at the amount of tilting old Tiger had versus the amount of tilting new Tiger had. So if we take a look at this in tilting degrees, we can see that newer Tiger is at 55, older Tiger is at 67. That is an incredible amount of tilt at impact. But what the reason this had to occur is because of the setup. Look at the center point. It's in that green circle. We left it there for a reason. The body amount hasn't changed much, but the amount based on that center point. The higher that center point becomes on your chest, the more you have to engage your lower body to get out the way. The closer that center point becomes to your hips, the more you can have grounded hips, and you don't have to worry about firing your hips out of the way to create the room to counteract that center point, because there is a line on that center point, and it's like a seesaw. It's got to be equally weighted with your forces. So for tiger, on the old tiger, we have one force working its way this way, which is his upper body, the other force working its way this way, and it counteracts it based on that green circle. With a newer tiger, he doesn't have to have a lot of opposing forces because that center point is closer to his hips. He can be more grounded with his lower body. And even past the impact, look at how long tiger stays in his posture on the older swing. Look at that. He's almost completed his swing on the younger tiger, and he's still in his posture because of that center point, where the newer tiger is now working back towards his center point, which was in the hips, so he can stand up taller and alleviate that back pain and the severe rotation. So I know this is not a long video. It is a quick video. It's a quick Sunday stream before I go out and enjoy the windy 50-mile-an-hour day today. But it's just a good reminder that setup will cause everything in the golf swing. It's not the other way around. And I know Tiger has developed his swing to change basically because of his body injuries that he's sustained over the years by swinging like younger tiger. But this is a lesson for you. Don't look at your past, look at your current swing and work with your body limitations. I hope that helps you. I'll see you tomorrow for a live stream. Fairways and greens.